One of the best strategies that you can do in property right now is buy existing commercial properties. Why are commercial properties so much better than residential properties if you do it right? Well, firstly, from a tax perspective, you can buy commercial properties through a SaaS pension fund. Anybody can set up a SaaS pension fund, even if you're only 18 years old, and you can invest money into your SaaS pension fund, 100% tax deductible, and then you can build a portfolio of commercial properties, and all of the profit that the commercial property makes, it sits in your SaaS fund completely tax-free, which you can leave to your children, and that is true generational protected wealth. Another thing you can do with commercial property that you can't do with residential property is commercial property is valued based on the rents. So if you buy a commercial property that's empty or the rent's just not very high, you can change the tenant. Because you change the tenant and now the revenue has gone up by, say, 50%, the value of the property has also gone up by 50%, which means you can then refinance the property, pulling all your money back out, and you've not even have to lift a shovel. You've increased the value through the paperwork. The third reason you should invest in commercial properties is because, generally speaking, your tenants are going to sign something called an FRI lease, which is a fully repairing and insured lease, which means that if the carpets go a little bit worn over a few years and they need to be changed, it's not you, the landlord, it's the tenant that has to fix it. If the boiler breaks, you don't even hear about it. It's fully repairing and insured lease, which means that they pay insurance, they pay for all the repairs, all the maintenance, they'll pay for everything, which means that you're going to be left with a lot more profit in your pocket because you're not paying for these repairs and insurance. The next reason you should invest in commercial properties is because you can buy a commercial property and you can turn it into residential property without getting planning permission under permitted development rights. That means that if you buy, for example, an old rundown office block, you can buy it cheap as chips because how is it valued? Based on the revenue. It's empty, it's not rented out. So you can buy it cheap as chips, but then without getting planning permission under prior approval permitted development rights, you can turn it into an apartment block. When you buy it, you're going to get massively reduced stamp duty because it's a commercial property. Now you've changed the use to residential apartments, massively increased the value, and you've done it without getting planning permission. An example of a property that I've purchased which is commercial, is Staddon Grange in Buxton. So I bought it for £1.4 million and it was a shabby hotel. And I've refurbished the property and I've done that tax efficiently as well, because with commercial property, you can get loads of tax breaks. For example, capital allowances. There's lots of fixtures and fittings that you can claim back as 100% tax deductible in commercial that you can't in residential. Also, I'm renting the hotel to one of my management companies, and my management company is doing the refurb, which means that my management company has now got a big loss on paper, so that when my management company starts now taking bookings, it's not going to pay any tax on that profit because it made a loss previously. There's so much tax things you can do. I bought another commercial property called Willingham House in Cambridgeshire. Willingham House is a property that I bought on an option agreement. We got it valued at £2 million and I paid a £1 deposit with an option to buy it for £2 million in the next 10 years. But now I'm renting it out as a hotel and I've pushed the rents up, and the revenue is currently around about £70,000 to £80,000 per month, which means that after 2 years of being able to show those books, it means that the value of the hotel is considerably more, meaning that I can then exercise my option and then refinance the property. So if you're tired of being a buy-to-let landlord or aren't excited about the idea of buying a house for 300 grand and then renting out for £1,000 a month, only to get called up by the tenant and told that the boiler's broken and you have to fix that, and the tenant doesn't want to pay rent, and what can you do? I mean, with commercial property, if a tenant doesn't pay rent, you can serve them 7 days notice. It's a totally different story because it's B2B, business to business, not B2C, business to consumer, which means they don't have consumer or tenants' rights because they are a business. So commercial properties completely changed my financial life over the last 5 years or so. Some of the best properties that you can buy right now are rundown or closed down banks. When a bank closes down, you can buy them so cheap. I've been looking at the list of banks that are closing down. They're up for sale in some areas of the country for 100 grand, 200 grand for a whole massive bank. Now, here's the best thing. You don't just buy a bank just to be able to say, I own that bank. What you do is you get permitted development rights prior approval without planning permission to turn the bank into residential apartments. And there is massive money to be made doing this. And if you want to learn more about commercial property, about how to recycle your money, about how to have a profitable portfolio tax efficiently ran, then I'm going to be running a free online training, which I'd like to invite you to attend. It's completely free. You've got everything to gain and nothing to lose. And I'm going to leave a link in the description where you can register completely for free. The only catch that I will say is there's only so many people that I can physically have on the call because the software won't allow more than 500 people. And we've already got a few hundred registered for this upcoming training session. It's online. So if you do want to register, do it now before spaces run out. I don't know when I'm going to be running the next one, and I look forward to seeing you on the other side.